Hey friends, how are you? Hope you're well and you've had a good week. Mine's been not bad, been quite productive in the way of uni work. Yeah, I'm almost there with ethics reapplication, so that's good. I'm getting sick and tired of it, if I'm honest. But I will hopefully, by this time next week, I hopefully will have submitted, which would be really, really nice. Or I'd be like kind of that close to submission, so that would be a great achievement for me. I'd be really happy with that. Reading wise, it's actually been a good week. How many books have I finished this week? I've finished 4 books this week. 3 that were like straight out that I'd started, started this week, but one was one that I've been reading all month. So let's get into my thoughts about the books that I've finished. I finished my buddy read with Rebecca the Colourful Book Nester of At Home in Mitford by Karon. This book was not for me. I end up giving it 1.5 out of 5. I know there are loads of you out there that love this book and love this series. I just found the majority of the characters just so one-dimensional. There was kind of no spark or anything to them. I loved Barnabas the dog. I loved Puny the housekeeper and Dooley. They were my kind of three favourite characters because they had a bit more oomph to them than the rest. But there were things in here that happened that I was like, what? Never. It was like, come on. For me, it was unbelievable, and I was just like, nah, I wasn't invested at all. So I'm afraid for all those Mitford lovers, I'm really sorry, I just didn't enjoy it, and I will not be picking up the rest of the series. I then read 2 books on my Kindle Fire. Both are e-arcs, so I will review them later on. One was Flora's Travelling Christmas Shop by Rebecca Raisin. Really enjoyed that one. It was good. It was fun. I will tell you more about it later on. And then Twins for the Neurosurgeon by Louisa Heaton. I gave that 3 out of 5. It was okay. The Twins for the Neurosurgeon was my pick from Mills and Boon this month, and there were a number of things that I just not didn't like, but just kind of irked me. In that we meet, I think her name is Sam, and she is a neurosurgeon, and she had a very traumatic childhood, and something happens when she's over in Paris on a placement sort of thing, or an exchange, and she meets Yanis. Now, something happens and they spend the night together, and she's on the pill, but by gum, 3 months later she's pregnant. It's like one of these, oh, we've just had sex once and we're gonna have babies. And he ends up coming over to London to the hospital she's in, and basically things, their relationship develops. There are some complications, etc. But I was just like, come on. Okay, yes, it can happen, but it just was, for me, I just didn't really engage with the characters, and it just wasn't. It was an okay read, but it's not blowing my mind out or anything like that. It's just like, yeah, it was fine. I read it and that was it. So, bit disappointing, but hey ho. I then last night finished The Path to Sunshine Cove by RaeAnne. Thayne, gave this a 4 out of 5. I did enjoy this book. I liked the characters. We meet Jess, who has a really interesting job in that she helps people declutter and downsize, their houses, or the things that they have in their houses, whether they're going to be downsizing to another house, whether somebody's died and they're wanting to help to get, to take away the clothes, etc. She accepts this job in Cape Sanctuary, and this is where her sister Rachel lives. Now, Rachel and Jess were really, really close, as very young children. Then in their teenage years something happens and they were basically split up. And there seems to be some hard feelings and maybe slight animosity between the two sisters. But Rachel seems to have it all. She has this husband, 3 great kids, perfect house, perfect, supposedly perfect everything, is an Instagrammer, social media person, etc., etc. But is everything as rosy as it seems? Jess, while she is helping out a lady called Elizabeth, and Elizabeth has this very nice probably is a young man, and he's probably, I reckon, in his 30s possibly, or just on the cusp of his 30s. Nathaniel, her son, and he has a girl, Sophie, and Jess begins to form like ties with Elizabeth, Nathaniel, and Sophie, much against her own kind of will, as it were. She doesn't want to be tied to people. She doesn't want to be tied to a place. She lives in this converted or redone up Airstream caravan, I think. I don't know whether they're called caravans, but it's an Airstream anyway, and she tows it behind her. So you get the story of Jess and Elizabeth. You get the story of Jess with Nate and Sophie. You do get a wee bit of Jess and Rachel, and you get a bit of Rachel and her husband Cody. For me, I really liked it, but I would have liked more of the Jess-Rachel story. I think that could have been developed a wee bit more. But I have to say, I did enjoy it, and I'm glad I've read it. So what am I going to be reading this weekend? Well, I've got a couple of arcs that I need to read in October. So I think I'm going to read my last sort of Christmas arc, and that is An Unexpected Amish Christmas by Rachel J. Good. I really enjoy her books. I love the setting that she has, and I honestly, for the life of me, can't remember the town that she has set her books in. But I really, really enjoy her books. I'm looking forward to this, and I'm hoping it's going to be a good one. Then I will probably dip into and dip out of. I was out this week with my mum and dad, and I bought myself a couple of magazines. So I bought myself Simply Christmas. Yes, the Christmas magazines are out, and I just really like looking through these and sort of seeing what people are maybe going to do for in their houses, or they give you ideas as well, so it's quite nice. And then the other one is, I tend to get this one virtually every year. It's the Ideal Homes Christmas, and some of these things I like the recipes in them. It's good. And I also, as I say, I like this, some ideas as to, you can maybe think of decorating your home this way or that way. And I'm like, yes, if you had lots of money and, you had, a limitless amount of time in which to do it, you could possibly do it. But it's like, come on, let's get real here. People have lives, they have jobs, etc., etc. It's maybe not going to be that possible for them to make it look, shall we say, magazine perfect. And in many ways, I wouldn't want my home looking magazine perfect, but that's just me. So that's kind of my reading, what I'm going to be reading this weekend. And, that's that. What else am I going to do? There's rugby on this weekend. Yay. So I'll be definitely watching the Edinburgh match and the Glasgow match. That'll be good. What else I'm watching that way, I don't know. What else am I going to do? I might pick up my cross stitch needle. I would like to do a little cross stitch gingerbread man and stuff it as an advent present for my other half, for my boyfriend. So I'd quite like to maybe do that this weekend. Get that, at least if I get it cross stitch, I can then start next week maybe putting it together. But that's it for this video, friends. What are you going to be reading this weekend? Have you read any of the books that I've mentioned? If so, what did you think of them? It would be really nice to chat to you about them. What plans do you have for this weekend? It'd be nice to know. But whatever you do, friends, stay safe, happy reading, and I'll see you next time. Bye!